I know this may surprise some of you. I know it didn't really surprise my sweetie Holly when I told her, but from now on, I want everybody to think of me as a pretty, pretty girl. That is how I identify, and my pronoun is, hey, cutie.
Look, I am not going to reveal myself. Finkel cannot know I did this. Just don't try to blame it on poor killing time again.
All right, remind me to punish those guys for setting that up. All right. Yeah, I can't go out there with the camera, so I'm going to sit at home and play with the computer. I want to share something that I saw. This is Monte Mater. Let's bring Monte up. Seems I've been summoned, which reminds me I have a jury's summoned for August 5th. I wonder if I can get out of it. All right. What's over here on the side? Trump goes psycho as all hell breaks loose. Ooh, that's that. Finkel calls out amateur Mark Furman. Oh yeah, that was pretty hot last night. What is QAnon? A deep dive into America's dumbest. All right. When an entitled girl gets instantly humbled. All right. The load out stay lyrics, Jackson Brown. Not familiar. Hello. I wish I was on painkillers. What's my excuse? All right. Doctor prescribed, not recreational. I'm tired and angry and sick of everything. Oh, that's the same lady I'm about to cover. Pro-Nazi Trumper gets fired, makes desperate move. Okay. All right. A little bit of welcome back, Fink. Muckster, Ariel, Killing Time, Nikki. You're all in a lot of trouble. All right. Let's play Monty. I think her message here is, an hour ago. I think it's a good message.
Just fiction, then why does Jesus Christ himself refer back to it as a real life event when he talks about how God made them male and female? He's not referring to it as allegory. And in the genealogies, we see how it traces back real person by real person by real person to Adam as a real person. This was a
All right. I've seen her do this before. Watch out, her detractors. She knows her biblical history. Yeah, she's like very thoroughly versed in all things Bible. Let's see her response.
In response to one of my videos where I say that the Genesis creation story is a myth, and this made her very upset. But let's talk about why Genesis has some problems before we get to what she says later about Jesus. The first thing you have is that Genesis contradicts itself within the first two chapters. In Genesis 1, verse 26, man is created last after the rest of the world has been established. And in Genesis 2, it says that man was created first before anything else was established. So it contradicts itself right in the beginning. Now, why is that? The Pentateuch, the first 5 books of the Bible, are traditionally credited to Moses' authorship, which seems unlikely.
So this threw me for a loop. I was aware that the New Testament was thrown together by a bunch of clerks and clergies about 150 years after Christ's time. So what we now know is the New Testament, or the Gospels and the letters, all that stuff. That was politically put together to feed a narrative that the emperor of the dying Roman Empire wanted to unify the empire under one religion. I didn't know all this stuff about the Old Testament, but I'm going to take her word for it, because I've never seen anyone prove this lady wrong yet, except she needs to wear more conservative clothes. That's just my opinion.
First 5 books of the Bible are traditionally credited to Moses' authorship, which seems unlikely considering they both predate and postdate his entire life. The origin story in Genesis is supposed to have happened at 4500 or 5000 BCE. Moses lived between 1390 and 1271 BCE, and Deuteronomy documents his death, and the Pentateuch also refers to Moses often in the third person. So this is likely a collection that was put together by several authors. We also know that Genesis was made up of 3 manuscripts that have very different timelines. The first is called the J manuscript because it refers to God as Yahweh. Was
Okay.
in the 10th century. We now have the E script, which is where we get Elohim. That comes from the 9th century BCE. Those two were combined in the 7th century BCE. And then we have the newest, which is the P script, which was the finalized script, which happened in 550 BCE, which was put together by a priest who combined all
550 years BCE. That means 5.5 centuries before Christ. I thought the Old Testament was much older. A lot of people think it's 6,000 years old. Let's hear some more.
all these manuscripts and added to them. He wrote his own version into these. He is the one who wrote Genesis 1. And what's fascinating about the P manuscript that was written, compiled in 550 BCE, this is where we get the final form of Genesis. That happens right in the middle of the Babylonian exilic period, which was from 587 BCE to 538 BCE.
587 to 538. Right, before Christ, we're counting down. Yeah, okay. Well, while the most of the nation of Israel was in captivity in Babylon.
And the creation story that came from the Babylonian exilic period mirrors almost identically the Babylonian creation story that was called Enuma Elish. And
which also mirrors the religion before that in Sumeria, which is the same geographical area. Interesting. All right.
lastly, we know that the creation story is likely myth because it's a poem. Genesis is made up of several different types of literature. It does have historical references to real people. It has genealogies, none of which we can confirm. And often new rulers would create a genealogy to make it seem like they were important and deserved the throne. That lasted all the way until the Middle and the Dark Ages. But within the span of Genesis,
oh, he begat them and they begat, all that begetting and begotten. I see. So it's written in there to justify a new king or a new leader. Now it makes sense.
Genesis, the first two chapters are poems. They're not historical dialogue or novellas like the rest of the text. Now let's watch the rest of your video.
And I know that you take scripture seriously because you weaponize it against conservatives, telling them that they're not doing what Jesus commanded of us. But
Using Jesus's own words as a weapon. How about if you consider yourself a big C Christian? How about you just follow the words of Jesus? Just a thought. I'm not a big C Christian. I'm open-minded. I believe there was a man named Jesus, or not. His name wasn't Jesus. His name was the Nazareth, who walked the earth, and that's where a lot of the stories of Jesus comes from. And I acknowledge that I could be very wrong, but she doesn't weaponize Jesus's words. She uses them in context. If that feels like a weapon, maybe you're being a little defensive. I don't know.
do we only take what Jesus said as fact if it supports our agenda?
And yes, Jesus references Genesis because the people that he was teaching would have understood this to be their origin story. This was their creation story. This was their scripture. That makes sense. He also spoke in parables very often. And so him referencing the poetry that opens Genesis is absolutely on form for Jesus' teaching. And it's interesting you mentioned twisting the words of Christ because I know you're very good at it because your movement has managed to take love thy neighbor, help the marginalized, give to the least of these, be kind to the foreigner, welcome the stranger, help the sick and the weak. And you have managed to take that and you have managed to go violate the human rights of immigrants who are just trying to have a better life. You've managed to vote away programs that help the poor, that give resources to the poor and move that money upward to the rich. You've also...
Damn, she could drop the mic right there, but looks like we still have some time, so let's continue.
managed to somehow take the Bible and act like it is a central theme of Christianity to be anti-LGBTQ when Jesus never mentioned that, but he did mention adultery, and you're out here supporting a serial adulterer with no...
Damn! Double damn, double dog damn. I want to hear that again. All right.
Bible and act like it is a central theme of Christianity to be anti-LGBTQ when Jesus never mentioned that, but he did mention adultery, and you're out here supporting a serial adulterer with no qualms given.
Wow, good eye, good eye. Love the guillotine earrings. I didn't notice that until just now. I did notice the tattoo on the shoulder. I'm like, what's that all about? But yeah. Oh, tattoos. Maybe she's in a gang. I don't know. Guillotine. When did guillotine get used a lot? Oh, the French Revolution, when the rich were. Oh yeah. Good call. Good call, Monte. Good catch, Nerdy.
When you read the scripture and you study history with the intent of learning something instead of proving your point, you find the truth. I would try it sometime.
Boom. Wow. Excellent presentation, Monty Mater. And wow. Okay, it is Saturday morning, 11:21 a.m. on the 26th of July, 2025. What else do I want to play with since I can't go out there and play with the camera? Actually, that would be funny if I did, like, I don't know, film from a car. All right. www.youtube.com. What else can I share that may or may not be copyrighted? Hey, I see I got 4 in the audience, a whopping 4. Park Rose. Oh yeah, Maxwell. What's her name? She yeah, let's take a look at that. All right. It looks like they made a deal with a convicted child sex trafficker. Share screen. Justice Department meets with Ghislaine Maxwell. All right. Let's see what happened. I remember hearing that this was going to happen.
The Trump administration is facing renewed calls for full transparency regarding files in the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation. Epstein's accomplice wrapped up 2 days of interviews with a top Justice Department official and the president's former attorney, Todd Blanche. Her attorney says she answered questions about 100 different people yesterday and that she did not hold anything back. Scott McFarland has more.
As he emerged from a
They gave her a limited use immunity for answering their questions. Queen of the day. Yes, that's what I had heard. I kind of wonder if the feds give her immunity, anything she says under oath in a court of law or under a sworn deposition, that's now public record. Can states where these crimes were committed, can they ignore the immunity because it's a federal immunity? So I don't know. Let's see what CBS has to say about it.
second day of interviews in Tallahassee, Ghislaine Maxwell's defense lawyer, David Marcus, said she is cooperating freely.
We haven't asked for anything. This is not a situation where we're asking anything in return for testimony or anything like that.
But as he departed for his golf resort in Scotland, President Trump refused to rule out a pardon for Maxwell,
refused to rule out a pardon for the woman who helped traffic minor girls to his sexual desires. Being that there's only 2 in the audience, I don't think either of you voted for this guy, but anybody who might watch this later, you voted for this guy. All right, let's continue.
who's serving a 20-year prison term.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if she's cooperating?
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed.
Actually, that's a lie. He has thought about it because he pondered it a couple months ago. All right.
How'd you do?
Oh, Nerdy says something. What does Nerdy say? Just like he hadn't thought about a pardon for Roger Stone, Michael. Yeah, exactly. Oh, he recently claimed he didn't know some of the 1,500 J6ers he pardoned were violent. You fucking liar, you named Stuart Rhodes by name. Let's continue.
But it's something I have not thought about.
Maxwell was convicted of conspiracy and the repeated sexual abuse of young girls. During her trial, some of the victims said they wanted her to be sentenced to life in prison. Deputy U.S. Attorney.
Well, I don't know. The Republicans ran in 2024 on the idea of the death penalty for sex traffickers. Now we're talking about pardons. Okay.
General Todd Blanche, a former Trump criminal defense lawyer, has now conducted 2 closed-door meetings with Maxwell in an effort to quiet criticisms the administration is blocking access to the Epstein files. A plane flew a banner over the courthouse meeting site accusing the president and U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
Trump and Bondi are protecting predators. They're probably limited on how many characters they could use. It should say Trump and Bondi are protecting predators because Trump is one.
Bondi of a cover-up. Blanche, Trump's number 2 Department of Justice official, said he sought the meetings with Maxwell as a response to the president's directive to release more evidence in the case.
That is totally unorthodox and outside the norms of the way the Department of Justice is supposed to operate.
Liz Oyer, a former U.S. pardon attorney, was fired from the Department of Justice in March.
Is she well positioned to get a pardon?
There's every reason to believe that they are seeking to make some sort of deal with Maxwell that will help them solve this political crisis.
Will it? If she suddenly comes out and says, yeah, I was involved in everything and Trump had nothing to do with any of it, will people believe that? Yeah, she might get a pardon for it. But I think it's just going to make it worse on Trump because how long has she been in prison now? Why is Trump considering a pardon now after a day of immunity? Now? Because the walls are closing in on him. Even his own followers can see that shit.
Trump dismissed any talk of a pardon as he arrived in Scotland.
A lot of people are asking me about pardons. Obviously, this is no time to be talking about pardons.
This is no time to talk about anything that I, His Majesty Donald Jackass Trump, don't want you to talk about. Guess what, Trump? We got rid of King George 250 years ago. We're going to say what we want, when we want, how we want to say it. Guilty as sin, of course, he's guilty. Yeah, oh yeah, he is. All right.
So what became of these interviews? The Department of Justice so far has said only that it'll release information at the appropriate time, raising questions about when and what will ultimately be released. For CBS Saturday Morning, Scott MacFarlane.
That's Saturday morning. This is Saturday morning. Okay, that's just today. All right. We have some notifications here. This dude is weird. Muxter, I'm going to... Oh, I know where you live, Muxter. That's an AI me. Don't watch that. Do not watch that. Fascinating tidbit. Okay. Nothing major there. All right, let's... Well, let us scour the interwebs for other stuff that I can share. Since I can't go out there and do my usual stuff. It's too hot out there anyway. You know, even if I was perfectly healthy, it's too friggin' hot. His worst performance to date was still talking about, yeah. Are we still talking about Epstein? Yeah, the guy you were talking about exactly the day before. Trump, you're a clown. And that doesn't surprise me. We've known about Trump since 1987. What surprises me is all the clowns who still follow him. Let me see. Ivanka's secrets revealed. Midas touch. An hour ago. Among drivers. Let me see. I'm scanning for something fun to share. This changes everything. Oh, okay. It's not, what's that guy's name? Chris Ruff. But it looks like a similar story. After the ICE raid started happening in the Trump administration, Chris Ruff complained that he was afraid they were going to come get his wife. I don't know why he'd be afraid. Is she a citizen? I don't know. But This title is Trump supporter pleads with White House after ICE agents arrest his wife. Oh, hey man, y'all voted for the guy. Let's get more details on this. So this is the KCAL News. All right.
Diamond Bar mother of 4 and an avid Trump supporter taken into federal custody by immigration authorities.
An avid Trump supporter. Okay. So you supported this because Trump was very clear he was running on this.
KCAL's Delia Caballero shares why her husband is standing firm in his political beliefs, even as they test his own family's strength.
Now, this is another example of she got in America and she feels safe. She's married to an American. She has American kids. So she's up there on the safe roof during the flood. And while others are trying to climb up the ladder, she kicks the ladder down. Well, guess what? The floodwaters have reached the roof, bitch. Let's continue.
Thank you. It was a quiet morning in Diamond Bar until federal immigration officers arrived. The Sahakian family's home security cameras capturing the moment their lives forever changed.
That was it.
Thank you.
She came back inside, hugged my kids, kissed me. She's like, "Art, this is the best thing that we could do."
Arpine Masihi, a loving wife, an avid Trump supporter and mother of
Oh, what was that? Make America Great Again?
Best thing that we could do.
Arpine Masihi, a loving wife, an avid Trump.
Look at that Trump paraphernalia. We want this guy to do what he campaigned on and deport everyone but me. I got kids. I got a husband. I supported you. I got a red hat. I got a camouflage hat with the king's name on it. I'm safe, right? Right? No, bitch. This is what he campaigned on, and you supported it. Let's go.
Supporter and mother of 4 was taken into custody by ICE on June 30th.
I have 4 kids, 3 dogs. We're just waiting for a mom to come home. 2 birds. Our family's devastated. I can't sleep. We can't do anything. We can't eat.
She's lived in the U.S. since she was only 3 years old.
I have sympathy for these people until we find out they pushed for this. They voted for Trump. They supported Trump. Like the Canadian lass that got deported. She made her husband vote for Trump. I can't remember her name. She was from Canada, but similar story. She's been in America since she was 3. She knows no other country. She thought she was safely on the roof during the flood, and she kicked that ladder, only to find out the flood's coming higher.
Coming into the country legally as a refugee, but an old criminal conviction from more than 15 years ago has resurfaced, leading.
Oh, she has a criminal record. Trump did say he was going after the criminals. Of course, he's gone after a lot more. But yeah, okay, you have a criminal record, and Trump campaigned on deporting illegals with criminal records, and you pushed for it. You pushed for it. Better put that fish back. It's not going to El Salvador with you.
To a final deportation order.
She was 20 years old. Every 20-year-old makes mistakes.
The Department of Homeland Security issued a statement to us calling Masihi a criminal illegal alien, referencing her 2008 burglary conviction and a final removal order issued in 2009.
And now I'm coming to learn with our attorneys, she didn't do anything. She was just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
It happens all the time. But that's where you have a choice of people who are capable of forgiveness and people who just want to hate, and you vote for the hate. Where are you now? You know, when the next administration comes and undoes all this damage that Trump's doing, I hope she is the last person that they rescue, or second to last.
Despite the pain, the Sahakians continue to fly their Trump flag.
Oh my God. Even during this, they're still flying the Trump flag. See, they're hoping they can cater to Trump's ego and get special dispensation. Wow. Okay. Bootlicker. That's what we call you. Bootlicker.
Outside. Arthur, an outspoken supporter of President Donald Trump, says he still believes in strong border security.
Okay, get this. They say people like me have something called Trump derangement syndrome. I wear a fuck Trump hat. I stand on an anti-Trump platform, and I have Trump derangement syndrome. Now let's think about this. Hey, Joe. a person is in power and not running for anything, and the power is unfolding in very negative ways. So I stand against that. That makes me TDS. However, the same Donald Trump, who's not running for anything, he's not, these are campaign hats. The kids are made to wear campaign hats for Donald Trump. He's in the presidency. He can no longer run for anything in the United States of America ever again, unless the Constitution is changed. The Constitution that, these are the people with Trump derangement syndrome. They're campaigning for Trump, who's already in office. They're waving Trump flags while Mama is in prison getting ready to be deported, and unless they suck Trump's dick enough. That's Trump derangement syndrome. Don't forget NFTs, the Bibles, the sneakers, the gold coins. Oh yeah, they buy all that shit too. All right. Yeah, Joe Cool. I'm not going to give any attention today. I'm sorry, I already did. Go watch one of those other channels that are making false accusations and false narratives. All right, let's continue.
Security, even as his family is caught in the middle.
Yes, I support Trump. I believe in Trump. I believe the administration will do the right thing. We had to do what we had to do as a nation to protect us, not only
to protect us from what? Your wife? That's their narrative. That's the narrative you push for.
Myself, but everyone else in the nation.
Masihi's arrest comes after American strikes targeted nuclear facilities abroad in Iran. Since then, federal officials have reportedly detained at least 200 Iranian nationals, citing national security concerns.
We knew that it's going to affect our family just because she's Iranian Armenian.
As the legal process continues, Sahakian says,
"Oh, I get it. You hate your wife. You knew they were going to come after her because she's Iranian descent. So you wanted Trump. Okay. All right. I see. There are better ways to get rid of ex-wives. I found one 27 years ago. You don't have to have her deported, man."
He's learning to hold two truths at once: support of a country's laws and the heartache of losing the person he loves most.
She's in Adelanto. She's broken. She's devastated. And there's thousands of these people, my wife, good ones. I'm pleading to Trump, let the good ones come home.
Masihi.
Yeah, that would have to be thousands of people. And home, according to Trump, this isn't their home. Now, you take the Trump support out of the picture. Yeah, she was 3 when she came here. Yeah, she made a mistake when she was 20. Yeah, this is the only, quote, home, end quote, she knows. But she pushed for this. And he just admitted that he knew they were coming after her if they pushed for this. And they pushed for this.
He remains in federal custody with no clear timeline for release or deportation. At this time, her family still working with lawyers for any and all possible release outcomes. Reporting in Diamond Bar, Lustelia Caballero, KCAL News.
Nobody in Diamond Bar has enough money to bribe Trump. The only thing you can bribe him with is stroking his ego. All right, I see a Cory Booker thing here.
Clerk will call the roll.
No. Stop. Okay. I think I saw this last night in the twilight of my drug-induced sleep. Let's remove that one. And stop screen. And share by share screen. Share screen. Share screen. And share screen. And okay. Yeah. That's, okay, I'm not quite as drug and hazed as I was last night. Let's see if I interpret the same way. I did see this last night on the TV. Booker won't back down, demands Epstein files over GOP objections.
Clerk will call the roll.
No. Mr. Chairman, I think I'd just like to be recognized. I know Senator Durbin and Senator Whitehouse, who outrank me on this committee, have asked to be recognized as well.
I don't want to pick a fight with Mr. Booker either, but I made a motion. Is my motion in order, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
All right, Tillis and Corbin. they put an amendment to literally cancel an amendment that Booker is trying to push. Now, the amendment is literally to force the DOJ to release the Epstein files. Now, the lower house, the House of Representatives actually showed a majority in favor of this, but then the Speaker of the House, who got on his knees for Donald Trump, he immediately put the House on recess until September. That's the entire month of August, the end of July, and the beginning of September. So the House of Representatives can no longer vote on this. So Cory Booker says, well, okay, a majority of even representatives in Congress want this. So let's get this voted. Of course, you know how they do things with committees? This is a fucking game. The Tillis-Corbin amendment literally is there to cancel the Cory Booker amendment.
Your motion is.
Could we have a vote, Mr. Chairman? Pretty
Can I
please.
have a vote? Yes, call the roll.
Thank you.
But we clarify, without a discussion on the second degree amendment?
Don't.
Of course, Grassley is the chair of the committee. When he says Second Amendment, he's not talking about the Second Amendment of the Constitution. He's talking about the Second Amendment to the bill they are proposing.
But we clarify, without a discussion on the second degree amendment?
Don't call the roll yet. Without discussion.
And Cory Booker's pointing out they're having a discussion on the Second Amendment, the Coburn Amendment, before they're having a discussion on the First Amendment, the Booker Amendment. See, the GOP has these rules in the Senate that even those rules they try to get around.
No debate
On the, you
on
just,
the motion? Go ahead, sir.
I don't want to jump over the ranking member.
I'll defer.
Okay, so I'm reading that Cornyn said.
So it seemed to have missed things. Did Finkel see Porter last Monday? Why was Finkel hospitalized? Anyone? All right. I was in a car accident this weekend, and I didn't get my cell phone until Thursday night. I was released Friday morning from the hospital. I'm okay. No, I didn't see Sean Porter. Sean Porter and his screaming bullshit, he doxed himself, and he challenged people to come visit him. So I decided, well, okay, the doxing address that he put out there, yes, I'm okay. I'm not going to be out there on my feet with a camera for a while. 6 weeks is what they're telling me, but I can sit in front of a computer. But to answer Jellyfish's question, yeah, he challenged me and others to come to that address and discuss it further. And I'm like, okay, instead of screaming at each other on YouTube, being jackasses, let's discuss this man to man. I told him I will see you on Monday, and I left the screaming match. Well, this weekend I was in a car accident. I totaled Holly's car, and I was laid up for a few days. Now I'm hobbling around for allegedly 6 weeks. And people accuse me of not having a faith. I do believe in a higher power, and I do believe he sends his messages. And as I'm laying there in the hospital thinking, I'm never going to get to Hagerstown on Monday. And if I could, I would be in a very vulnerable situation. I wouldn't very easily be able to defend myself. But let's presume this gave me a chance to lay in a hospital bed and think things through. Sean Porter, who doxed himself, he's got this kid bouncing around on his lap, a little innocent kid. And he's telling people to come to the home of this little innocent kid to discuss it, quote, man to man. Okay, what is Sean Porter's bullshit story? That the people he are up against, one of them allegedly murdered his wife, and the others who are being open-minded about it, they are supporting allegedly murder. So here's this guy with this innocent kid, demanding people come to his address, which he put out there, and he's assuming these people are pro-murderer. What kind of fucktard does that to his 6-year-old kid? He's a fucktard. Yeah, he deserves something to happen to him. The kid deserves nothing to happen to him. Just because you're a lousy fucking parent, Sean Porter, just because you're a piece of shit who doesn't give a fuck about your kid, either A, you don't believe you're up against a murder conspiracy, or B, you don't give two shits about your son. Either way, A or B, it equates to you are a piece of fucking shit. Don't go to that crib, bro, not unless it's for conversation. I'm not going. One, I'm physically incapable now. And two, that 6-year-old kid does not need that in his life. And I would encourage Joe Cool or anybody else who's following Sean Porter's bullshit to encourage him. Get the kid out of this bullshit story and stop spewing the bullshit story. And by the way, all the people tagging along with this bullshit story, the fact that we're getting at either A, Rabbit unalived his wife, or B, Mrs. Rabbit, Lion, unalived herself. They're narrowing it down to those are the only two possibilities. And I don't know. But I do know this. Joe Cool, I think you know this too. O.J. Simpson is guilty of murdering his wife. He's innocent in a court of law. Why is he innocent of the court of law? Because the stuff that was put out and the framing by Mark Furman of a guilty man gave the jury sympathy. Any jury in Western North Carolina, it doesn't matter if they're in Asheville or further up towards Spruce Pine, or even if you come all the way east a little bit, that jury's now tainted because this shit's all over YouTube with very strong accusational opinions. Someone just kind of, doing whatever and playing it in the background. They're being fed rabbit killed, or lion suicide, depending on which they're watching. They're watching a bunch of jackasses opine about stuff that they know nothing about, except the only fact is Lion is no longer with us. Everything else is for the police, the investigators, the judge, and the jury to decide. Let us save all this bullshit until after a jury decides. Let's stop tainting the fucking jury. All right, back to Cory Booker. I'm going to get off that soapbox.
Second degree, and he said a lot of really important things about immigration that are worthy to be discussed. And I'm happy to vote on an immigration bill. I disagree with the death penalty. I will vote my conscience on this, but I want to draw everybody's attention to the
death. Part of the bill without the amendments is the death penalty for for opioids. All right. Okay. I got distracted.
The first two lines of your second degree, they have nothing to do about immigration. They have nothing to do with the death penalty. I've never seen this before. His first two line is not to bring up this important issue that should be discussed, debated. Your first two lines are to strike my amendment in its entirety.
So if you're following the second amendment, the second attached piece of proposed legislation to the bill is simply to strike the first one, and the first one hasn't even been discussed yet, let alone voted on yet. And this is how the Republicans do this shit.
So what we have right here is hidden behind real issues on immigration is really just trying to not vote on the important points that we brought up about transparency and accountability on the Jeffrey Epstein files. This is
transparency and accountability. That's what we heard the right say all through 2024 as they are running for president, vice president, various Senate positions, various House positions. We want transparency on the Epstein files.
This is not an amendment to my amendment. This is an attempt to strike what I have a whole list of prominent Republicans, elected leaders who want the same thing I want, which is just to have transparency on this matter.
Can we vote
I've
on my
heard some of the
second degree?
comments. If I can finish, Mr. Chairman.
By the way, now my mind is half on all this Vigilance Committee and Smurf Transparency, Smurf Watch Transparency, all these YouTube channels covering in various ways the incident in Western North Carolina. I forgot. Never mind. Now I'm scatterbrained. Well, I thought of something about that. All right. Forgive me. I'm on codeine lice Tylenol. Yeah, it'll come back to me. Let's get back to Corey.
Go ahead.
I have heard public statements by my Senate colleagues on both sides of the aisle. I've heard comments from Republicans on the House side and Democrats on the House side.
Quite literally, a majority of both senators and representatives, combining both parties, want these files released.
That we want transparency and accountability.
But the people in power, the committee chairs and the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader, they're not allowing democracy being practiced in their own chambers.
On a matter of public safety. Senator Corman said that Jeffrey Epstein's dead yet, but his victims are not.
Boom. The victims are not dead, and the other criminals are not dead yet. Fuck. One of them's in the goddamn White House. Let's continue.
There are women who have horrific stories of vile violence that was.
Let's be clear, Cory Booker. There are women now. They were girls. They were minor children when all this happened.
Committed against them. We have Pam Bondi, our Attorney General, who said that there is evidence, truckloads of it, as to these crimes, potential co-conspirators, potential others involved. How can we not want to just know what happened?
This could easily become a campaign commercial the next time Cory Booker runs for something.
Why are we trying to simply turn away from the highest law enforcement officers in the land, from our FBI director to our attorney general, who spoke towards crimes committed and others involved in those crimes? Why are we considering an amendment that is hiding behind real immigration issues, but real intent is to strike a simple request for transparency, for accountability, that Republican voices all across the spectrum have been demanding from this president and this attorney general? So if Senator Cornyn is going to offer an amendment, I'm going to offer a third degree that simply strikes his first two lines. I'll vote on your immigration stuff that you.
Now watch. First Amendment, not yet voted on or even discussed. Second Amendment is to strike the first. So he's going to play their game and suggest, well, let's do a Third Amendment to strike the second. But for some reason, you can't do that.
So strongly stated there was the importance of this, but you hid the fact that you put here the real intention of your amendment. It has nothing to do with immigration. It says it right here in the first two lines. The real effort was just to not have accountability and transparency. What are you afraid of?
We know what you're afraid of. You're afraid that your president is going to be outed to be the child diddler that he is.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond?
Yeah, you may respond.
I trust the Senate confirmed Attorney General of the United States to make the proper legal analysis to determine.
He trusts someone who's been proven to lie several times. He still trusts them. He's going to leverage that a slight majority voted to confirm her. Okay.
Determine what of the Jeffrey Epstein files can be released. Right. He was confirmed by the United States Senate as Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States.
She was confirmed by the United States Senate as one of the things asked about, will you release the Epstein files?
States. I trust her to make
I'm going to agree. This dude here? Yeah. Yeah.
the right legal determination. But I would ask my colleague from New Jersey, you claim you care about the victims. Do you care about Tammy Nobles? Do you care about Marie Vega, the angel moms who lost their loved ones, their children?
Oh, this is where, okay. Keep in mind the last 6 months, thousands upon thousands of people have been detained and or deported. And in those thousands and thousands, a handful were actually hardened evil criminals. And every time they get one, they detain 300 a day, and one of those 300 is a really, really bad guy. They're going to push, hey, we got a really, really bad guy. Now let's compare it to any 6 months of the Obama administration or the Biden administration. You pick the 6 months. More people detained and deported, and all of them hardened criminals. Due process, and they actually managed to do more. Now they're just scooping up anybody who looks or sounds like they might not be American and deporting them. And then the hundreds, they get one that's actually a bad guy. And they're like, look, we got one. Yeah, and how many innocent lives did you ruin?
Through the acts of an illegal alien who never should have been here in the first place? Do you care about them?
Can I respond to the senator's question?
So yeah, this is how bad the power setup is with the slight majority in the Senate. Cory Booker literally has to ask permission to respond to that bullshit accusation. Let's back it up 5 seconds.
Care about them?
Can I respond to the senator's question? Sir, I've known you for 14 years. You and I both care about victims of crime. And to suggest otherwise is stunning to me.
Senator,
if I may finish, sir,
Senator,
I allowed you to finish.
I asked
sir,
you a question.
And I'm trying to answer.
See, the Republicans, they're allowed to interrupt. Democrats, they're not allowed to interrupt. They're not even allowed to say their piece without being interrupted.
An accusation.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
answer the question.
I should have allowed a time to respond to the senator's question. I did not interrupt him, and now he's interrupting me.
Please.
It is another violation of the decorum of this place.
Go ahead, Senator.
Senator Cornyn, both you and I.
Well, thank you. Keep in mind, my commentary is laced with codeine-laced Tylenol 3. I don't have the clearest mind, but hey, maybe I'm actually better at this when I'm high.
Have spent our lives. I know your record. I know your history. I know what you've done. I would never, ever question whether you care about the victims of a heinous crime.
And I appreciate that, Senator Booker. I would, at this point, I would question how much these fucktards care about people in America struggling, whether they're crime victims or poverty victims or, yeah, all right. But, the Democrats in office, they play nice. They play too nice. I would never, ever question that. Well, after what he just did, hell yeah, I'd question that.
Mr. Chairman, please help me.
You ask me if I care? Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, I'm not finished yet.
Thank you for answering the question.
Well, I'm going to answer the question in full.
Ooh.
You are not sincere.
Let me explain.
Sir, he has put an amendment in.
Would you allow
trying to use the horrific nature?
Would you allow me as sponsor of this bill to
Sir, I will not pick a fight with Chuck Grassley in the same way that Chuck Grassley won't pick a fight with me.
The reason for his amendment is because your amendment says that this bill that we're working on will not go into effect until we get all these records. And this bill is an opioid bill to help solve some of the drug problems in this country. And we ought to get it passed because it's a bipartisan bill and it's very bad.
And everyone agrees it should be passed. It's what's called leverage. The First Amendment to the bill is leverage. The Second Amendment to the bill is a vote to cancel that leverage.
Badly needed.
Sir, may I respond?
Yes.
So I said at the top of my comments, my frustrations, we've said it to your staff, we've said it to others, that when funds like this have been made available so far in the first 6 months, they're clawing back funds from my state. And that's unfair, and I would like to deal with those. We could deal with them. And given that, I am sticking to an amendment that is not controversial. I know it's not controversial, sir, because I've seen polling literally on Republican channels that the overwhelming majority of Republicans and Democrats want transparency and accountability. That the overwhelming majority of Americans has seen that one of these two things is lies. Is there truckloads full of evidence
or
as to victims of crime not having justice? Have we been lied to?
Oh, you forgot.
Who are we trying to protect? What are they?
Yeah, I think he lost track. He was saying, are there truckloads of evidence as suggested by Pam Bondi? Are they on her desk as directly stated by Pam Bondi? Or is there nothing to see here also? Both cannot be true. Either there's truckloads of evidence on her desk or there's nothing to see here. Guys, my pain is throbbing and my painkillers are doing nothing but making me loopy. I would highly recommend to all 8 of you, wow, 8 of you on a Saturday morning, hey, finish this. It's called Booker Won't Back Down, Demand Epstein Files Over GOP Objections. Oh, and it's on his own site, Senator Cory Booker, and it was posted July 25th, yesterday. Yeah, I would. We're 7 minutes and 42 seconds into an 18-minute video. I'd highly recommend watching that before you go back to watching people point fingers at each other over what happened in Western North Carolina. Have a good day, everyone, and forgive the end stream takeout. This is what Muxer and Ariel and Killing Time set me up. I'm too lazy to change it.